Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 44 of the Anatomy of Knitting podcast. My name is Aran, and I'm going to be your host. Today is December 10th, 2012, and it's about 1:16 in the afternoon. And in this episode, I'm going to do some updates and announcements. I'm going to talk about what's been off the needles. And then I'm going to talk about what's been on the needles. So it might be a bit of a shorter show today. We shall see. So let's get started. So updates and announcements. First, you'll notice that it is a bit of a different location for recording. Ooh. This is my bedroom. I am currently on some bed rest. About a week ago, I got diagnosed with mild preeclampsia, so that dictates that I have to be on bed rest now. So it's taken me a few days to get all the things I had to get together, do my show notes and all that kind of stuff. So my guess is that this is probably going to be the last podcast that I record before I give birth to the lovely boys here. You can't really see. A little bit of a bump there. Let's see. What else can I tell you? The quality of the recording's probably not going to be as good as it usually is. I typically use one of those little handheld flip cameras to record my podcasts. And that one's HD, and it's really good quality. Right now I'm using the built-in eyesight of my laptop. So there's a couple of good things and a couple of bad things about using the eyesight. With the eyesight I can, get really close to the camera, and it'll focus, at least better than the flip camera does. But the actual quality of the video isn't as high. So, unfortunately, we have to kind of make it work. We have to Tim gun it, as I like to say. There's also some construction going on outside. So you might hear some noises from that. I doubt it, though. I can hear it right now, but I doubt you can hear it. It's kind of muffled. And then I have cats here that have joined me on the bed. They may decide that they need to participate, so don't be surprised if that happens. And then this is probably going to be, like I said before, the last podcast before I give birth to these boys. I don't know exactly how I'm going to be able to fit in recording after I give birth. So I'm just going to have to play it by ear, and I might just do a couple of minute non-edited, non-fancy updates, just to kind of let you know how things are going. But we'll have to play it by ear. Keep an eye on the Ravelry Group. It's probably the best suggestion for, finding out what the recording schedule is going to be for future episodes. So, let's see. I think that's it for my announcements and updates. I've got my show notes over here. So let's get started with what's off the needles. There's lots, so I'm excited. So what's off the needles? Let's see, I have a total of 7 projects that I have finished between the last time I recorded and now. The kind of weird thing about this. A, I can see myself as I record, which I usually don't do with the flip camera. And B, it's all opposite, so I'm going to have to kind of get used to that. So, lots of new, interesting things with this recording. So, the first thing that's off the needles is the Garter Yoke baby cardigan. There we go. And the color is really, unfortunately, off here. It looks like it's really sunny outside, but it's not. It's really overcast and yucky. So this is the Garter Yoke baby cardigan, and this is a design by Jennifer Hull. It's knit with Neighborhood Fiber Company Studio Sport, and I believe this was the 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue colorway. Let me see if I can... That's a little... You know, kind of where you see the shadows here is a little bit more accurate than this color. It's much more purple than this kind of berry color that I can see on the little preview here. So I knit this using US 4 needles, and I think I knit the 3-month size, which seems kind of crazy that a 3-month-old is going to fit in this. I would have thought it would have been more like a 6-month-old. These are some nice shiny gold buttons that I got from Joann's. And I got that before I got put on Bedrest. Let me show you the back. It's like 3 inches or so of garter stitch, and then the rest is stockinette stitch, except for the little bottom part. There's some more garter stitch at the bottom. And then the sleeves are mostly stockinette stitch here, and then some garter here. The pattern was very easy. I believe it's a top-down sweater, top-down raglan. Super duper easy. The only complaint that I have about this sweater is the quality of the yarn. When I was in the beginning of this game, up here, I kept entering into these sections. Let me see if I can kind of see how that, right there, how the little bit of yarn peeks up. I kept entering into these sections where the ply of the yarn was like really weird, and kind of like one ply was pulled out, and I had to cut the yarn probably 3 or 4 times to have that nice smooth, and you'll notice because of the bump, you know, the one bump that I have there. Let's see, let me get it under the gray. Yeah, you can see it a little better there. I didn't cut it out there, but I should have. Yeah, so that was really annoying, but once I got to maybe about halfway down with the sweater, that evened out, and I didn't have to do that, you know, cutting and weaving in more ends of the yarn. So that is finished object number 1. Super cool. I think the colorway made it come out a little more feminine than I anticipated, but that's okay. They're babies, they're not going to care. Let's see, is there anything that I said? No. Gotta always consult my notes because I've got that late pregnancy brain. So the next thing that I did is the Pembroke Vest, and this is a pattern by Kirsten Kapoor, and I knit 2 of these, and they're pretty much identical, so I'm just going to show you one. And this is certainly not the accurate color. You'll see that the background color kind of changed. Let's see if I can... Yeah, it just doesn't like that color. That is, like, this color that you can see right now is much more accurate. Let's see. Yeah, it just doesn't... Camera doesn't like it. Anyway. I believe I knit the 0 to 6 month size. And with this design, it has buttons here on the top left shoulder that you can undo, so it's easier to get the sweater on the baby, because I got big old heads. And I don't know what it is about cables and little boys, but I just think it's the cutest thing ever. And it's cabled on the back as well. I knit this using, I'm consulting my notes over here, Knit Happens Happy Accidents yarn, which is some yarn that I purchased in Arizona at Knit Happens. I believe it's MCN, the Merino Cashmere Nylon blend. I don't remember the percentages. I think I threw the tags away, and the the yarn isn't in Ravelry's database, unfortunately. There we go. And I knit this using US 5s and US 6s. And I just think these will be so cute to have in the spring. You know, two little boys wearing two little matching vests with, you know, like dark pants and white shirts. I think it'll just be the cutest thing. So, cute little vests there. It's so annoying that I don't have as nice color accuracy on this camera as I do the other one. Yeah, I knit the 6-month size is what I have here in my notes with the two Pembroke vests. And I got those, they're woven type buttons, similar to the ones that I put on the Gramps sweaters. And I purchased those from Joann's as well. So the next sweater that I have knit and finished since the last time I podcast is... Oh, and it is not purple. It is so not purple. This is the Sock Yarn Sweater by Hannah Fettig. Let's see if I can get a little closer. Yeah, that's a little more accurate. Not too much, though. Damn camera. Anyway, this is a pattern by Hannah Fettig. It's knit in Yarnia's Chetco on US 3 needles, pardon me. And I don't know if everybody who's watching the video podcast is as familiar with my audio podcasts, but I have used the Yarnia brand, it's not really a brand technically, type of yarn. Yarnia is a store that you can visit in Portland, Oregon, and what it is they have single strands of yarn on big cones, and what you do is you decide to make your own blend of yarn, and they take those cones. So the other sweater the Aran size sweater that I have is knit out of 3 strands of wool, a strand of nylon, and 2 strands of cashmere. And so you get those single strands of yarn and you add them all together, and then that gives you the thickness of yarn that you want. They wind it on a cone, all those yarns together on a cone for you, and then you get to knit your own project out of the yarn. So I had this, and I originally bought this yarn to be socks, but obviously I hadn't used it yet. So I got this cone of yarn out, and I knit this baby sweater. And this is another top-down raglan type of sweater. It's got a little garter up at the top, at the edges of the sleeves, and then at the bottom. And then the thing about the Yarnia yarn, which is kind of annoying, if you're not prepared for it, well, it's annoying, period, is that sometimes that these different types of yarns, I think this yarn is 2 strands of wool, a strand of mohair, and a strand of nylon. I think that white one is the nylon. And when I knit, I kind of have a tighter grasp on the yarn, and so what happens is that usually one of the strands of yarn is the dominant one, and it's the one, like the other yarns end up kind of creating these big loops. So I have to always kind of straighten out those loops to have a nice strand of yarn to work from. I think I can show you an example, like on the cuffs, that you can see that it's multiple strands of yarn. Yeah, it's kind of difficult to show. I'm going to put a link at the bottom to the Yarnia website that you can see how they do their yarn. It's really, I mean, it's a fantastic yarn store. Don't get me wrong. The annoyances of using the yarn is outweighed by the kind of the awesomeness that you get. This is not purple. It is a navy blue. So, that is that sweater. You have easy raglan top down. The different yarns had the different tensions. Yeah. So that's that. And I really like this sweater because there was no buttons to install. All of the sweaters that I have knit for these two boys have all been cardigans, I think up until that one. So I have had a lot of buttons to install. Let's see. The next thing that I knit is the Small Things Sweater by Karina Spencer. Oh, this is not... Oh, no, no, no. Goodness. Let's see. Can I get a more accurate color? Maybe it just isn't like the top I'm wearing. This kind of tealy top. So this is actually like a dark foresty green, not black looking. So this is the Small Things Sweater. It's a design, I think I told you already, by Karina Spencer. It's knit with Aran Peruvian Highland wool and US 8 needles. And the Aran Peruvian Highland wool is yarn I've had in my stash since, seriously, the time I started knitting. I purchased this yarn in order to make the ribby cardi from Chick Knits, and actually never knit the cardi. So the next bunch of sweaters that you're going to see are knit out of all of that Peruvian Highland wool, just to kind of see if I can get it out of my stash. Let's see. The cool thing about this sweater is that the way it starts is that you cast on this garter tab. It's kind of like a shawl, you know, with the garter tab starts. You cast on provisionally, like up here or so, and then you knit this long tab, and then when you get to a certain amount, which the pattern will tell you, and I will not, you then pick up the one provisional side cast on, and then you start knitting back and forth, and then that's how you get your sweater. So that was an interesting way of constructing a sweater I've never done before. Excuse me. So this is another raglan type of sweater, and this garter stitch collar and I don't know what you'd call that treatment there. Lapel? I don't know. That is all knit on as you knit. Here we go. As you knit the rest of the sweater. So it looks really, I mean, it looks really polished. You know, you didn't have to knit the garter lapel after and then try and knit it on, which I never can do evenly. And then you do the two little bands of purling here, and it disguises that there's two buttons, which I have yet to purchase. Haven't been able to because Bedrest. I'm thinking of going, like, I looked at Joann's online and they don't really have that great of a selection online. Anyway, then you continue down to the bottom. There's some garter, there we go, at the bottom. And then stockinette sleeves with the garter at the top. Lots of garter. And oh my goodness, why didn't you all tell me to knit worsted weight sized sweaters in the beginning? Because these take like 3 or 4 days tops, and it's so quick and easy. And there's a shot of the back. Cute, cute, cute. I'm so bummed about the colors. They're not coming out. Let's see. Yep, I told you everything that I wanted to say about that sweater. The next one that I did is nope, colors are still bad, is the little coffee bean sweater. And this would have been my color combination for the ribby cardi. It's that same kind of dark foresty green and then this nice oatmeal-y gray. see if I can. Yeah, colors just do not want to cooperate. No, I think it has to do with my overhead light. I typically, when I typically record in front of an open window, and that's why the colors are nice and accurate. Natural light is always best, but make and do. So this is the Little Coffee Bean Sweater, and this is a pattern by Elizabeth Smith. I knit this in the 2 colors of Aran Peruvian Highland wool, and then I knit the ribbing in US 7s, and then the body of the sweater in US 8s. Apparently this is the 3-month size, but it looks gigantic, and I'm not planning on having gigantic babies, at least not right off the bat, because there's 2 of them in there, and they're not going to be gigantic. But it looks a lot bigger than 3 months, but the good thing about baby knits is that if you make it too big, they will grow into them. Yay, yay. And then this one needs buttons. I wasn't able to purchase the buttons before Bedrest. So I'm thinking of going on, yeah, it's this side here. You can kind of get an idea of the gray a little bit better. Or not the gray, but the green a little bit better. Let's see if I... Yeah, you're just not going to be able to see it. Dang it. I'm thinking of going online after I record and as I'm doing editing and rendering to see if I can find some buttons that will work for these guys. So we'll see. And then there's a shot just of the back. Just a nice, cute striped sweater. How cute would, like, elbow patches be on here? I bet that would be cute. So, that's that one. And then the last finished sweater that I have is the Hoot Cardigan, which is knit out of that green again. And you can see cables here. Each one of these going. Ooh. Here we go. Each one of them is a little owl. So like the eyes would be here. There's one there. One would be there. There's the beak. There's the body. And then there's the bottom. So there's should be 3 owls on each side there. So disappointed with this color. Dang it. This is a pattern by Brenna Cotter. Again, it's knit with Aran Peruvian Highland wool, and I used US 7 needles. And the interesting thing about this one is the cast on that you use. It's an I-cord cast on, which I've never done before. There we go. So you knit this I-cord, and then you start like adding stitches on to get the cast on. It's super, I mean, it sounds complicated when you're trying it the first time. It's kind of like turning a heel. When you read the directions about turning a heel, you're like, oh my god, how am I going to do this? But once you actually like blindly follow the directions, it works. So this was kind of the same way. So it's an I-cord cast on there. And it's kind of done the same way. You do so long of I-cord, and then get those stitches that are underneath cast on, and then you start knitting back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. This is knit from the top down, raglan style, again with all the garter, and garter down at the bottom. And I'm trying to decide if I should embroider eyes on the little owls. There we go. or just kind of keep them the way that they are, kind of subtle owls. We shall see. Again, I gotta find buttons for this one. It's kind of the bad thing about Bedrest is once you get put on it, you should make sure you should have, done all your stuff early. It's a good thing that we worked on the nursery before working on the sweaters, because the nursery's practically done. I think there's a few very, very small things to do, but I'd rather have that tackled and need buttons versus buttons being tackled and nursery needing lots of work. Let's see. Yeah, so I'm still trying to decide whether to embroider on those eyes. If you want to give me some input, just post in the thread for this episode. And that is all of the sweaters that I have knit since we last spoke. And I think last time I recorded, I had finished maybe 10 sweaters. So I'm almost at 20 sweaters for the two, which means about 10 sweaters a piece. So I'm doing really well. Yeah, I think that's it. That's all I wanted to talk about with the stuff that's been off the needles. So let's move on to what's on the needles. So what's been on the needles, other than all that stuff that I finished, I am pretty monogamous right now. I'm not really doing too much at once. I still have those Sweet Georgia yarn hydrangea socks on the needles, but I haven't really touched them since I last spoke to you. This is the baby sweater that I've been working on now. And I'm probably going to mispronounce this. It's the Ciarian? It's by Jennifer Hagen, who designs under the name of Fighead Yarnworks. And it's let me get the yarn holder out of the way. And it's this lovely cabley goodness pattern. It's got the honeycomb in the middle, the X's and O's cables, and then this mistake cabley rib at the ends. This is the back. This is another pullover sweater. So yay, no buttons! And then this is the front. And I'm up to the point where I'm going to divide to work, each side of the front. So I'll be doing that. I am using the Aran Peruvian Highland wool, yet again, in that lovely gray oatmeal-y color. I guess that's a little more accurate. And then I'm using US 7s for this ribbing down here, and then US 8s for the cabling up here. And I'm using my lovely signature needles. So that is the sweater that's on the needles. It's pretty easy. In the pattern, there's a chart for the entire back, and then same chart for the entire front. And you just follow the chart for 16 rows and then repeat it, and it's seriously super easy. Yeah, I should probably have this done in the next couple of days. It's taken a little bit longer than the other sweaters, mostly because those were stockinette type sweaters, and this one has a lot of cables. Once I finish this sweater, there's another Fighead Yarnworks sweater that I'm going to do. It's got a shawl collar, and the rest of it's mostly plain stockinette. So trying to get these done, those two done, so I can be all stocked up on sweaters. So yep, that's what's on the needles there. Not much else. You would think that this Peruvian Highland wool would be pretty scratchy, but it's really not. It's really nice and soft, and that's even before washing it, which is Amazing. It's gonna be nice. So that's it for everything that I've been doing. I guess I'll close up without doing another little segment. Let's see, what can I tell you that I haven't told you already? I don't think there's anything that I wanted to warn you about that I hadn't done already. Again, this will probably be the last episode before I give birth to the little ones. I'll do my best to post to the Rav board when exactly that happens, just so you all know. But it might be a few days afterwards. I'll have to get my sea legs underneath me. So I hope you all have a good holiday season and then an excellent new year. And I will keep you posted when the plan is that I will post again. It might just be like little 5-minute episodes. We'll have to just see. So, thank you for watching, and thank you for all the messages that you've been posting on the Ravelry board. And I will see you all probably in the new year. So, I hope you have a good day and good knitting, and no issues with your knitting patterns and knits that you're knitting on. So, I will talk to you all next year sometime. Bye-bye.